The recording has started. So today's call is reviewer training. Basically, we are going to review your DORS system and how you as reviewers can log in to DORS, review reports that have been submitted by your citizens, and then take action on those, as well as some of the other functionality of your DORS system. Once you all go live with DORS, you will have your command center link. Command Center is the screen that you see now. Based on some other products that you may utilize from LexisNexis, you might be familiar with our Command Center login. It's pretty much your one stop for all of LexisNexis products. So again, if you have other products of ours that you utilize, it'll all be housed here within your Command Center. Once you go to log in, you'll have your user ID and your password. Once we migrate you over to production, you will be prompted to reset your passwords here in Command Center. So your username, password, this will be pre-populated with your police department in this page. The rest of Command Center is really just our news and upcoming maybe new products that'll be coming, or if there's going to be any maintenance to any of our systems, that will be notified to you here on the right side of your Command Center homepage. So to go ahead and log in and view online reports, you're just going to put your information in and sign in. Once you sign in, you're going to just have to do your acknowledgments and agree. And then you come to your home page for all things LexisNexis. Again, as you can see up top, all of these different tabs represent different products within the LexisNexis family of that you can have. If you have the eCrash, eCitation, DORS, analytics, whatever it is that you might have, you'll just click on one of these tabs in order to get into that page. If you have admin for your DORS admin rights, your user administration will be where you go to make modifications to user accounts. So once you're live, you will have the opportunity to maybe update your reviewer accounts, add new ones. If people leave, you can deactivate, or you could just make certain individuals inactive if they will not be reviewing online reports for a period of time rather than deleting them or leaving their account open. You could just inactivate that account until another time. So all of that will be done here within that user administration. So to go ahead and review reports, you're just going to click on DORS, and it's going to bring you into your report inbox. Now this is going to the same for all reviewers that are logging in. Your report inbox at the top will automatically default to the last 7 days. So down below here within your manage report queue, the last 7 days of online reports will be shown. If you'd like to open up that search, you could just do so by opening up that date range and hitting search, and it will open up the date range here of reports that have been filed. If for any reason you need to search for a specific report type, say you have somebody that called in and said, we filed a report the other day, we haven't heard back, we just want to check in. The reviewer can come in here. If you have that reporting person's first or last name, you could search by there and open up that date range. Or if they have a temporary T number that was issued when they submitted their report, you could search by that here in the temporary number. Every report that was submitted using the online reporting system, as soon as it gets submitted, it will be issued a temporary T number. Now, this temporary number is issued by DORS, and it will stay with this report through the life of your system. So at any point, if you ever needed to search that T number, you would be able to do so. And then obviously, just open up that date range for the search. So you as a reviewer here in this queue is where you will take action on all of your incoming reports. That first column is going to show that temporary T number that was issued once that report was submitted. And down below, you will see that there are some additional case numbers that are different than that temporary number. So these are their permanent case numbers. So you could see here that somebody's already taken action on these reports. If you look over to the right-hand side, you'll see that the status shows that these have been exported. Exported means that a reviewer has already taken action on these reports. They have approved those reports, and that report has exported our DORS system and can now be found within Cafe. So if you need to pull that entire report within Cafe, you would just search this case number in the in Cafe, and it'll pull up the entire report there. We also have the AP and the CJ case numbers as well, and we'll review that a little bit further. That process for those case numbers is slightly different, and we will review that here in a moment. The next column is the report type. So if it was an original or a supplemental report, citizens do have the ability to file supplemental reports online. So if they went ahead and filed a report originally for a lost property, or let's say a theft, and then they were able to, after that report was submitted, they found additional property that maybe was stolen or something that they had to add to that report, they could file a supplemental report as well. So that'll tell you there within that column. This is the date that that report was submitted, the type of incident that is being reported. Your reporting district will be populated. This is included with an address file that we have for you. The address file was provided to us, loaded to DORS, and what that does is when the citizen is filing their online report, when they're entering the location of the incident, we are able to validate that address against the address file that you provided to us. So this will help us determine if that incident took place within your jurisdiction. If we are not able to validate that address against your address file, we will alert the citizen that it appears as though your address is not within our jurisdiction. Please confirm before continuing. Now, we will let them continue with the report and file the report. And then on the back end, for you, the reviewer, we will give you an alert in red font during the review process that just lets you know that we were unable to validate that address. So you should confirm it yourself prior to approving that report or so forth. With that being said, if you are reviewing a report that you have determined might be within the jurisdiction of one of the other departments that we are implementing, so Seminole County, Altamont Springs, Sanford Airport, Oviedo, we're going to be implementing all of those agencies. Once you are all live, we are going to enable a feature that lets you transfer reports if you determine that it was one of those agencies' reports. So instead of rejecting those reports, if you are reviewing something and it appears as though that happened within, let's say, Seminole County or Altamont Springs, you will have the option to transfer that report to them right within DORS, and it'll take it out of your queue. And I will show you that process as well here in a moment. If for some reason the reporting district is blank, that is just we weren't able to, when we validated that address, there was it either did not validate the address, we were not able to validate it, or that district was left blank within your address file for that specific street number and name. So that is where the blanks would come in. The next column is your reporting party. Typically, it will be in black font. Where you see the red font, this is just an indication to you, the reviewer, that this individual has filed more than one report within the last 30 days. So it helps you to identify if somebody just has bad luck, or maybe you are having a problem with people filing maybe fraudulent reports, or if they are just abusing online reporting in general. We do have the ability to block specific individuals from using online reporting. So you would be able to search Ryan Smith here at the top if you wanted to say, okay, in the last 30 days, what reports did Ryan Smith file? You can open up this date range to the last 30 days, and then you can enter their first and last name and search, and this queue will populate all the reports in the last 30 days that Ryan Smith filed. And that will help you determine, all right, this, is he filing false police reports? Is this becoming a problem? Or does Ryan Smith just have terrible luck and, is having a bad month? So whatever that case may be, just let us know. And again, we'd be able to put a block in for you. If they include any attachments in their filing process, that attachment will be included within this column as a hyperlink. So you will be able to open it and save that file. And then finally is your status. There's a few different status options that you will see as reviewers. New, obviously, is a new report that was submitted by a citizen. Nobody has looked at this yet, and it still needs a review before action is taken. Another option that you might see is pending. A status of pending means that a reviewer from the department has already looked at this report and determined that there was not enough information or there may have been missing information from the citizen. So they issued a follow-up. A follow-up will send that report back to the citizen via email. It will provide them with a link to be able to go back into that report and add the additional information that you are requesting. So we will provide you with an email template. You add, as the reviewer, this is the information that we need. That goes off to the citizen and it changes the status to pending. Now, should that citizen take action on that email, use the link, go in, add the additional information and hit submit, that status is going to come in as resubmitted. So you as the reviewer will know that, okay, somebody issued a follow-up, the citizen added the information and now it's been resubmitted. With that being said, it does not matter who issued the original follow-up. Any reviewers can then go in and review the resubmitted report because we're going to include the email that was sent out to the citizen with what information that reviewer was requested. And again, I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Status of rejected. You might see, and that just means that either it was outside your jurisdiction or it did not fit the criteria for online reporting. So you went ahead and rejected that report and asked them to either call the department to file with an officer or that they should file with the department of whose jurisdiction that is. So to go ahead and review reports, you're just going to hit review. That's going to bring you into the report itself and all of the information that the citizen included. At the very top, you have your action buttons, and they're also located at the bottom as well. So throughout the review process, you don't need to toggle back and forth to get to those buttons. Now, at the top of the page is your general information on that report. It's that temporary T number, the report type, date it was filed, the language, and then the IP address. We capture the IP address of every filer using the system. So again, here you will see that this IP is in red font. This again is just an alert to you, the reviewer, that more than one report has been filed from this IP address within the last 30 days. So if for some reason we missed it on the first name, let's say, there was a Matt Smith. On Monday, he filed as Matt Smith, and then on Friday, he filed as Matthew Smith. Those names aren't going to match up. We won't alert you there and turn those into red font, but we will be able to capture it based on his IP address that he used. Similarly to the reporting person's name, we can block an IP address, and this is searchable as well. Back on the search fields on the previous page, you can open up that date range to the last 30 days and then enter the IP address to search which reports were filed by this IP address. One thing to be mindful when it comes to IP addresses is to just ensure that if you have a local library that allows people to access or use computers, and if they don't have a home computer or a smartphone to file the report from, maybe they went to their local library and filed it there. So you just want to be mindful of that IP address might be some public place that allows multiple people to file from. But if it is, again, a problem, just alert our support team and we can put a block on that IP address from using the system. Next is the reporting person's information. So all of the information that was entered by that citizen will be included here within this reporting person's page. You will notice that there is modify option in each of these fields. You as the reviewer do have an option of modifying any of the information of these reports that come in. We do like to just issue caution when you are, or if you do choose to modify any reports. A good, typically we say we wouldn't modify any reports. We would issue a follow-up to send that report back to the citizen. The option is there, let's just say a citizen, after they submit their report and they are looking at the temporary report that they filled out, maybe they noticed that, oh my gosh, my date of birth should be 1956 and I selected 1955. You can let them know I can make that change for you if you would like me to, or I can send the report back to you for you to make the change yourself. If they approve that you making that change, then you could go ahead in here and hit modify, and it will allow you to make that change for them. And then you would just hit modify and it will bring you right back into that review. With that being said, if any modifications are made during the review process, we will keep a copy of that modification here within the edit trail, and I will show you that in a moment as well. So any changes made by reviewers during the review process, we will capture and keep that change. Next is the incident location information. So this is where the incident took place. Excuse me. The address of that incident where it took place, the date and time, the start and end time of it, the location type, and then any other information depending on the specific incident type that they're filed. So in some of the other report types that they're incidents that they're reporting, we might be asking some additional information that you might see for an identity theft. So it's going to be specific to the report type that they are filing, what information is requested by that citizen. So that information will get listed here. This incident location, we were able to validate against the address file you provided. If we were not, there would be a red error message here right next to the address, just alerting you, the reviewer, that we were unable to validate it against your address file that was provided. A couple things to keep in mind. Maybe we have an older address file, some new addresses were added to your jurisdiction and we just have not been provided the updated file yet. Or maybe there's an error within that address file. We did test it thoroughly up to this point, so it should be accurate. But if not, and that error message comes up, it would just be the reviewer's responsibility to validate that that address is in fact within your jurisdiction. The next is the property information. So if it's an incident type where property is being included, the property information will be here. If it's an incident type where maybe there's vehicle information would be included as well here in going forth. So any areas where you see that maybe something was not filled in, this was just an optional field for the citizen to complete. So at a minimum, the mandatory fields that a citizen had to complete in order to submit their report, those are included here. And then anything else is just optional depending on, again, on the incident type. Here you do have the ability to modify, delete, or you can even add additional property. Similarly, this is going to, if you make any changes here, it will keep that change here in the edit trail. And then lastly is your narrative. This is just going to give you a detailed description of what took place. This is where you could determine if there's not enough information. Do you need some more information or details from the citizen before you can approve this report, whatever the case may be. Your options down here for taking action. You could simply approve that report. By approving, it's just going to give you this confirmation saying you're about to do this. It's going to give a permanent case number to the citizen. Do you want to approve this report? If you hit OK, it approves that report and it kicks you right back out into the queue. And you can see here now that that report has been approved. One thing I do want to point out since we're here, once you are live, you will not see this export option. because we are in testing and we were manually exporting reports. This export option will be here, but once you are live, you'll see view and print. Viewing is simply going to just let you view everything that you just approved. And if you needed to print this report for any reason, you'd be able to print it there. Now, lost properties, as I said, they're slightly different in the approval process than an identity theft, theft, criminal mischief, or so forth. The review process is going to be exactly the same. You're going to have all of the same information listed or requested, just as you did from all of the others. Now, the difference is that if you were to go ahead and approve this report, because you and the agencies that all share CAFE, the way your case numbers get approved for lost property or the house watch and so forth, you all share the block of case numbers. So if you are going to approve a lost property or a house watch request, there's going to be one additional step for those report numbers, those permanent case numbers. From here, you're going to be asked to provide the permanent case number, and it gives you the format here of what we're looking for. So it's going to be the 4-year digit, the CJ number, and then whatever that the next series is going to be. So you will be pulling this number from CAFE. So you will have to go in and pull whatever that next CJ number is from CAFE and then enter it here before going forward. So you would just enter the 2022 CJ and then again, whatever that case number might be, and then hit approve. By doing that, you are just issuing the permanent case number for those specific report types. All of the other incident types outside of the lost property and house watch, DORS itself will issue the next permanent case number, and we do that. We have, let me back up. The way the case numbers are assigned is we have the 4-digit year and then the 2-digit that represents your department, and then the block of the 90,000 or 900,000 range is what is pulled aside for your department's case numbers. So it'll go in sequence upon approval in this format. Any AP or CJ case numbers, you will have that extra step of upon approval, pulling that next case number from CAFE and then entering it here within DORS before you hit approve. And again, the reason for that is because you all share that same format with Seminole County, Altamont Springs. You all share this block, this number block range. So there was no way of us determining in DORS, you know, what the next number is going to be. You would all have your own block range. So that was the only way that we could find to make it work going into CAFE and not having overlapping numbers. So again, that is for lost property and the house watch. Any AP or CJ numbers, you will manually enter that number upon approval. Now, if you were to approve with a note, it's the same as approving. You're still going to be required for the lost property or house watch to enter that case number. But it will also give you the template, the email template that gets sent to the citizen. And then you could, if you would like to, as a reviewer, add an additional note to the citizen. This isn't required. It's just an option for you, the reviewer, if you wanted to add an additional note going forward. If you needed to issue a follow-up, there's not enough information going forward. You can't make a determination on this report until the missing information or clarification is given by the citizen. You would just select follow-up. By selecting follow-up, it will give you the email template for follow-ups. And again, this here is where you, the reviewer, would enter the reason or what you're requesting from the citizen. So it just lets them know, we're sorry the following problem was found during your report. Please include A, B, and C. Oh, A, B, and C. Then it gives them some additional information using this link here. This will be a hyperlink once it gets to the citizen, will allow them to go right back into the report to make these modifications. If you send that follow-up to the citizen, you'll see here again that it was changed as pending. So earlier I had stated if you see a resubmitted status, it could be any reviewer that can go in and review that. It does not have to be the reviewer that issued the original follow-up. And the reason being is because during the review of that process, all of the information the citizen entered is there, but now additionally, we have the follow-up email that Mel wrote to the citizen on the 12th. So it'll tell you on the on 12/5 at 2:27, Mel Francis sent a follow-up to the citizen requesting this information. Now, since this was resubmitted, you, the reviewer, could say, okay, Mel wants this. Did the citizen add that? And you could go down and look to see if that was included in that report. Maybe because the address file, we were not able to match it. Maybe she asked the citizen to confirm where the incident location took place. Maybe that was what it was. If there is still missing or inaccurate information, or the citizen did not provide the information requested, you, the reviewer, can issue another follow-up. There is no maximum amount of times within DORS that you can issue a follow-up. I think that would be a good policy or internal call for you all of saying, all right, we're going to give them 2 chances or 3 shots with follow-ups to provide us the information. And on the 3rd time, if we still don't have it, we're just going to reject the report because, we can't keep doing this back and forth. So that could be determined by you all and what you want to set for follow-ups. But as far as DORS is concerned, you can issue as many as you need to until you get the correct information where you can make a determination if this report can be approved or if it has to be rejected. If it doesn't fall within your jurisdiction or is not fitting of the criteria that we set, you would reject that report. And rejecting would just again give you that email template. We're sorry the following problem was found during the review of your report, and it's that temporary number that's given. And then you would just enter that case number or the reason here as to why that report was rejected. It doesn't fit the criteria. Whatever the case may be of why it's rejected, you would just enter that there and hit reject, and then it brings you right back into the queue and it shows the status as rejected. You will see here you do have the option to unreject. So, you reject this report, it gets sent to the citizen. Maybe the citizen calls and gives you some information that will have you unreject that report for any reason. You could just hit unreject and it would unreject that report and let you go in and approve it. One other thing that I would like to show you, if you go into review a report, you might run into an instance where it looks like this. You will see a blue box at the top of the page that says fields in green identify where a value in the current report, which is the one we just selected to try to open, matches a value that was in an existing report that we've already approved. So at the top of your page here, it shows the current report. So this is the one that I just opened to review. And if I scroll down, it's highlighted here in green that we were able to match the first and last name to that of somebody in a report we've already taken action on. So you'll see here an existing report. This is a read only. So we can't make any changes because this is something we've already taken action on. But we could scroll here and it'll highlight here what was also matched. So this was the first and last name. So you can search through both of these reports and determine, okay, is this report that we are reviewing, is it a supplemental to this? Did maybe they just accidentally file a brand new one instead of filing a supplemental? If the answer is yes, and this should be a supplemental to this, you could just hit supplemental report, and it's going to change this one to a supplement and then allow you to review it. And it will update the case numbers to match the existing report. Maybe it's a duplicate. Maybe the citizen forgot they've already filed this report last week. You know, they submitted it, they haven't heard anything back yet, they completely forgot they submitted it, and they went on and filed a new one. You could hit duplicate, and then it'll kick that one out, and will let you continue with the original. Or you determine that these two reports have absolutely nothing in common. Maybe on this report, let's see where it was, you know, maybe on the 5th, Ryan is filing identity theft, but then on the, let's say 6th, oh, it's criminal mischief. They're two different reports. He just has really bad luck. So they don't have anything to do with each other. You would just hit cancel. And that kicks you out of trying to match those two reports and brings you into the current report to review now. And that existing report just goes back into the queue. So now you could go ahead and view this new report, the same as all the others. Your incident information, property or vehicle information is there, and so forth. If you want to approve it, everything looks good. You would just hit approve and cancel. If you started with the review process and you're not ready to take action, or you're getting called away from your desk, cancel out of that report and it's going to bring you back into the queue. If you are in the review of a report and you get called out and you were not able to log out of this report correctly, and you just left it as is and walked away, there is a timer at the top, a session timer at the top of every page. So it's a 30-minute session timer. After 30 minutes of inaction, you're going to get locked out of this report. Because you did not cancel out of this report correctly, any other reviewers that go in to review reports, here within the queue, it's going to show next to the status that it is currently being reviewed by, and whoever that reviewer was that is still logged into that case. That will auto reset after 30 minutes. So just keep that in mind if, you know, if you are in the review process and you get called out and have to leave the office or leave the review process, just by hitting cancel, that unlocks that report for another reviewer to be able to review. If you don't log out properly of that report, then it's going to lock that report for others until that 30-minute time has expired. And then it will unlock that report. So that is the report inbox and how to take action. Are there any questions on any of this that I just covered?
I have a quick question. Sally, if I missed it, I'm sorry, but when a report comes in here, is the administrator or anyone that we ask to be notified that a report is here, or is it incumbent upon us to check the database daily to review the reports to make sure that something has come in?
So it would be incumbent on you all to check to do that. But with that being said, if you would prefer that we notify you, we do have the option of notifying if you have like a distribution list or a specific individual. I could set it up so that somebody is notified once a report is submitted. So it's completely up to you. Most agencies write it as part of their policy that whoever has a reviewer account, it has to be part of their duties on every shift to log in and check the queue at some point within their shift, either, you know, at the start or the finish or whatever the case may be. So whatever you determine, just let me know. Right now it is set up where it's incumbent upon the reviewers to log in and check, but should you prefer that I make a notification, I could do that for you as well.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that offline and see what we think is best. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. Any other questions on this page? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. When you were in the report and we were looking at everyone's information, you scrolled down to the bottom where there was a narrative. Is there a way to read what the reporting party wrote in like paragraph form, or are you only reading it in that one single line and you just have to keep scrolling over to see it?
No, it will be paragraph form. This is only one line here. Let me see if I could go
Okay.
into one of the test reports that Mel did, because I know they all had some really good.
Just I wrote paragraph.
You had some good test reports.
Let me put yourself down.
No, of course, the one that I picked. But it's in paragraph form. Yeah, you will not have to scroll to keep reading the narrative. It's in paragraph form for you, so it's an easy review process for you. And I think
Good.
Mel can probably attest to that. She did extremely thorough testing, which was fabulous, because we caught some things early on that actually it's because of her testing that we were able to catch that the CJ and AP issue, that if we went live and all of your agencies were doing that, that would have been a pretty big problem. So, but yes, it's paragraph form, so it's going to be nice and easy for you to read and clear going forward in that review process.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the report inbox? Okay. Next is the report. Okay. The report log, it's very similar to the report inbox, with one exception. The queue down here is just a locked field. You don't take action on reports, and you don't review the entire report, in its entirety. So just specific information is spelled out here that I'll go over in just a second. At the top of this report log is where you can run your statistics for online reporting. So during budget meetings, or I don't know, just at any point you need to figure out, okay, what are we doing for online reporting? What kind of reports have we been getting? So you'll just put in your email address and the date range of the stats that you're looking for. Hit submit. You can add up to 6 email addresses here. You just separate them by a comma. So if you need to send it out to 6 different people, just add all of their email addresses in here, and then hit submit, and it's going to email you off a copy of the online the statistics.
Is that who's approving the reports, or is that who's the victim's email address?
Overall.
No, this is for the department only. So this is not for citizens. Should not have any of this information. This is you, the reviewers. You're logging in. If you need to run a stat report, you need to know, okay, for the month of December, the month of November, what did we have for online reporting? You would put your email address in here, and it will give you off that. The stat report that it's going to send you is going to look like this. The online stat report, it's going to give you the date range, your police department name, and then all of the incident types that you are accepting online. And then it's going to give you how many reports were filed within that specific date range. Those get listed out here. It will tell you too how many were rejected, so you could keep track of how many reports were rejected. I ran these stats prior to the reports I rejected, so that's why you're not seeing any of the rejected reports popping up here. Down below of the stat report is where your time and cost savings come into play. So if you want to know, okay, well, how many hours did we save from not having to send an officer, or what's the total cost per report that this will show you here. So you had a total of 42 reports taken within that time range that we ran the report for. Currently, this is what we have as defaulted in the system. If this needs to be updated or changed based on your rates, just let me know, and I could change them in the system so it gives you a more detailed and accurate total savings. But so right now we have, if an officer had to go respond to one of these reports, it would be 1.5 hours. And then cost per report if taken by an officer would be $40 per hour. So if you think that these are off or you want to adjust these a little bit, so maybe it's only an hour, or maybe it's 2 hours if an officer went out between taking that report and writing it and entering it, into cafe, whatever the case may be. And then, again, if the $40 an hour, if that's an accurate amount, great. If not, just send it over to me and I can get that updated. So based on these factors, it saved you 63 hours. So 63 hours got freed up, not having to send an officer out. And then it saved you $1,680. And then it breaks it down your year-to-date totals as well. So that is your stat report. And again, that can be ran from your report log at the top of the page. The rest of the report log is very similar to your inbox. You have your search here. It's going to default it to your last 7 days. You can open it up. You could search by report number. That's the permanent case number that was issued after it was approved, or that temporary T number. It just gives you some more search options here. And then down below is your queue. Again, it looks pretty similar to what we saw on the previous page. There are some other columns here that were not in the front. So here you're going to have your report number. This would be your permanent case number, your temporary case number. You will see, though, that there are still some T numbers that you see in here. This just, if you look at the status, they're still new. So it just hasn't been updated yet, or those reports haven't been reviewed yet. If it was a rejected report, it's going to stay as that T number. It's not going to change that, and that temporary number will be the only number associated with those rejected reports. If there is a permanent case number added, it will be in the first column, and that temporary number is always going to be in the second column. Again, it will let you know if it was an original or supplemental report. The status will always be included. The IP address is going to be the IP of the filing, the reporting person. This is the incident that was filed. First and last name of the filer, the district, when that report was filed, and then how it was filed. So all of your reports that come in will show as public. You will see some that show public and then -IND. This just indicates that there was a victim associated with this report type, and the victim was an individual. People do have the option of filing reports on behalf of businesses. So if it was a criminal mischief to a business, it would say public dash, and then it would say BUS for business. So it will let you know that the victim was either an individual or the victim was a business. Next, it's going to give you the follow-up date. This is when if a follow-up was issued, it will give you the date and the reviewer of who issued that follow-up. If that was approved, it's going to give you the date that was approved and who approved it. And then it's going to the exported. The export date that we exported that report over to Cafe, and then it's always going to say it was exported by it's going to, in your case, it's going to say the report exporter. It will always show that in that report there, and that's an automatic transfer. So you as reviewers don't have to worry about anything for that. We have it set up on the back end. So as soon as our system sees that there is an approved report, it will search about every 10 minutes for those approved reports. And if it finds statuses of approved, it will export the data from DORS and transfer it into Cafe. The next ingest is always going to be blank. And then the last is reject. So rejected or deleted. Excuse me. It will give the date and who rejected it. Or in the case of deleting, none of your reviewers will have the ability to delete reports. Anytime you might see delete is in terms of a follow-up. So if a follow-up was issued to a citizen by one of your reviewers, they have 30 days to respond to that email. So that link in that email is only valid for 30 days. If they do not take any action on that follow-up within the 30 days, on day 31, that link becomes inactive and DORS will auto delete that report from our system. So if the citizen after day 30 wants to then try to take action on their report, they're not going to be able to. They're going to have to resubmit a brand new report. So that delete, it will show you here if it was auto deleted, and if the reject by, it will say that it was auto deleted. So it will not be a user that deleted it. It will be DORS itself. And then the miscellaneous note, it's a hyperlink.
Sorry, I have a question about that.
Sure.
I'm sorry. If we have a record request for a temporary report that has been, did you say deleted? Do we not have access to that anymore?
You will be able to see that
Okay.
deleted report in that accountability email address that we set up for you early on.
Okay, okay.
So if that occurs where the system deletes that report, it's going to send a copy of that report as well as any emails that were sent to the system or to the citizen. It's going to send a copy of all of that to that accountability email address that we created for you. And if you don't remember what that is, I could resend it off to you or what was created. But you'll be able to have all of that there. It'll be in an email and it'll be a PDF as an attachment to that email in that accountability email
I
address.
remember that now. Thank you.
Yep. So this miscellaneous note is just going to tell you any emails that were sent to the citizen during the review. It's going to have a copy of that here for you to view. Other than that, that is all that you will be able to view of these reports here in this inbox. Do you have any questions on that report log?
No, we're good.
Okay. Next is your edit trail. As I stated earlier, anytime a reviewer makes a change to a report during the review process, we are going to keep track of that here within this edit trail. This edit trail is locked field. Nothing can be deleted, modified, changed, or anything here within this field. All you could do is export this data to a spreadsheet, and that is it. So if you had a citizen call in and say, I got my approved report, we were reviewing the PDF, and the information is not what I entered, it is different. You can go in and open up this date range. It's a month. This date range is back 30 days. You can open this up based on the report that they filed, the date they filed the report. So you would ask them, can you tell me what date you filed it? Set that date range. And then if they gave you their permanent case number or their temporary case number, you would add that here and then hit search. And it will let you know if your reviewer made any changes to their report. If so, it will be listed here. Their permanent case number will be listed, temporary case number, and then it's going to tell you what changed. So on this, the person changed or the property page changed. The incident page changed. So this is the page of where the change was made, how it was changed, it was updated, or if some information was deleted, or so forth. And then it tells you the field where the change was made. So the date of birth was changed, the market value was changed, serial number, color, so forth. It's going to tell you the field that was changed. This is the value that the citizen entered, and this is the value that the reviewer changed it to. And then it tells you which reviewer made the change and on what date. So then you could go back to that reviewer and ask why they made that change. Did they speak? Maybe the citizen forgot, they called in and they talked to the reviewer and okayed that change being made. But you could go back and then ask that person, why did they go ahead and make that change? For what reason? So that will all be kept here within this edit trail. Do you have any questions on the edit trail? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And the last tab is my account. So this is where you could just make changes to your account information as your own account information. Certain fields are going to be locked, where only the system admin will be able to make those changes. You as reviewers will be able to update your password and your contact information. All the other fields and permissions will have to be set by your system admin. So if you want to update your username or change your permissions, anything like that, you could do that. Your system admin will be able to do that for you. And that is that page. There is a user manual at the top. If you do have any other questions, the user manual is very user friendly. There's a lot of screenshots and great information there if you get stuck going forward. And then ask a question. This just allows you to email our support team directly should you have any questions once you are in this review process or within DORS. You can ask our support team any questions. One other thing, actually, that just came up that I want to show you, and I completely forgot about this. In your review process, I'm just going to go in here for 1 second. During the review of a report, should you determine that the incident took place at, say, Seminole County, or this should be Altamont Springs report, that it's their jurisdiction. Once you go live, we will be enabling, when all of the departments are live, we're going to be enabling a report transfer between agencies. So should you determine that, okay, this is still a good report, but it's Seminole County's jurisdiction, instead of rejecting that report here and telling the citizen to just go to Seminole County, you're going to have the option to forward this report. So you will have one additional tab during your review process called forward. And once you are all live, you determine, okay, we need to send this off to Seminole. You're going to hit the forward button, and then you'll have the next screen will pop up where it says agency to forward the report to, and it's going to be a drop-down field, and you'll be able to select all of the agencies within your group that we are implementing. So Seminole County, yourselves, Altamont Springs, Sanford Airport, and Oviedo. They will all be listed here, and then you could just select which department it needs to get transferred to. And then you'll select the incident type. And if there's any additional note you, the reviewer, want to give to that department on that report, hey, this came into us, but it's one of yours, whatever the case may be, you would write that here within the note section and hit forward. And it's going to send that report into their queue of their report inbox, and it'll take it out of yours. So that is one additional field that you're going to have, and that's going to be here on this page when you come up here during this review process. So it'll say forward, you'll select the agency you want to forward, and then hit forward, and it's going to send it off to them. So that is the one additional piece that you will have once we get all of you live. I think you and Altamont Springs and Seminole, because you three are going to be live by the end of the year, we're most likely going to set that option up for you, so you'll have it at least between the three of you, and then as we implement the others, we'll just add them into that list as well as they go live.
Thank you.
So that is all I have for you this morning, or this afternoon, actually. Do you have any other questions for me on any of this review process?
I'm not sure. Didn't have something automatically.
Yeah, I did have one question. We talked earlier about addresses that were in Longwood and maybe ones that didn't show up in Longwood. Can we set it up to ones that don't have Longwood addresses, that it automatically kicks the report to county, or is that something that we're just going to have to manually do as they come in?
Unfortunately, that's something that you'll manually have to do if they come in and that is something. It will just be basically you'll all be sharing because the way that it's set up and each individual address file for you we have set up to your own, and Seminole County is to their own. So there's no address sharing, unfortunately. So if one came in that we didn't validate against yours, there are no other files that we have attached to your DORS setup that would let us determine who it's supposed to go to. So that's why,
Okay, I was just
unfortunately,
wondering, 'cause the
Yeah,
city
no
of
problem.
Longwood, the incorporated is about 6 square miles, but the unincorporated Longwood is pretty significant. So there are a lot of people who fortunately have never called the police before or needed the police before, who are under the impression they live in the city. So we actually get quite a few people that come in here and want to report a crime that just have never realized they don't actually live in our city.
Gotcha. And unfortunately, based on the address file, it'll just go based off the address file that we have. So with that, you might run into a few more reports than others that you're going to be transferring over to the county instead. The only other way around that, and I don't think that you all had it, do you utilize Esri, the mapping system?
No.
Okay. So Esri is just the only other way that we could do that. And it's not, a lot of departments don't actually use it. So Esri is just like your online mapping service that some departments utilize for their jurisdiction. If you did have that, then we could set it up on the front end. So basically a citizen would use your Esri link and determine if their address was in fact in your jurisdiction or not. So it would tell them that on the front end of who they're supposed to file that report with. But unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that it will be after that fact, after the report is already filed, that the reviewer will have to determine if it's one of yours or if it's outside your jurisdiction. The one thing that will help them, because those addresses will not be in your file that was provided to us. So the reviewer will see, let me get in here. The reviewer will see the error message. So that should help the reviewer once they see the error message that we were unable to validate it. That should give them a little bit of a heads up that, hey, you're probably going to have to transfer this report out. But unfortunately, yeah, it's going to come during this review process.
So on that main page, when it has an L or it's blank, the L is something, it's an actual address that we recorded with you. When it's blank is one that I guess is not recorded or kind of up in the air whether or not it's ours or somebody else's.
Yeah, we weren't able to match it with your address file because your address file that we have, if I remember correctly, and I think, Mel, we may have tested this, your address file, every address in that address file does have a reporting district on it. So I think some of these might just be ones as well that I ran a quick test report. So I know it's not a real report or real address in your jurisdiction. So, right, if you see a blank here, that's another indication to you and your reviewers that we weren't able to match it up to an address in your jurisdiction. So if I went into any of these reports here without an L, chances are it's going to say does not match your geo file. Another one, few. Yep, does not match your geo file. So every address in your geo file.
What address was that on orange? Can you go back to that?
Which one? The one that I was just on?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it could be just the number.
It doesn't look
If we
like
can't even, you might have an orange Ave in your.
Starts at 249.
So yeah, anytime you see the blank here as well, that is just going to be another indication to you because every address in your address file has a reporting district attached to it. So if we're unable to validate it against your address file, then we will not be able to include a reporting district as well.
Okay.
You have any other questions?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
We sure
Well,
appreciate your demo though.
yeah, no problem at all. And if any do come up at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're getting real close to getting you guys live. I think, Mel, we have another call tomorrow morning, and I think that's going to determine when we're ready to move you guys over to get live with the system. But once you are live, I still will be hanging in there with you for the next month or two, just to ensure that everything runs smoothly. And if there's any adjustments that we have to make, I can make them quickly for you. And then after that time, I will send out an email to you all with our support team's information. And just, I will let you know in that email that, from that point forward, you can reach out to our support team to make any changes or updates to the system, beyond that point. But like I said, for over the next month or two, once you go live, I'll be your main point of contact to just work out, any little tweaks that we need to make to the system, should they come up. So, but before that, if you have any questions or, letting all of this sink in, if something pops up, please feel free to reach out. I'm available and here to make the transition smooth for you all.
thank you.
No problem. And I will get, once we, let me actually stop this recording right now.